Wahnsinn, unglaublich, ja? Choupo-Moting haut das Ding einfach rein.
You're telling me. Oh, hello there. Time for another Club 2020 Daily as BT Sport goes full continental with the latest on UEFA's extraordinary finale to these Champions and Europa League campaigns. Coming up, we've got plenty of Raphael Honigstein, we've got transfer talk, we've got news and views from all over Europe, even a few kebabs as well. But let's start with last night in Lisbon.
This fella's got a big night, and he's through for the first time. Oh, he's fluffed his lines, Neymar. The run made here by Hatibor, and a save clawed away by Navas. Pasalici scored! Neymar, oh, that was brilliant. John, just wide, so close. It's Kylian Mbappe, it's a big chance. Oh, they've wasted another one. Here's the chance. Oh, he's got it! They finally go on. Mbappe's cross. And Choupo-Moting has come off the bench to fire Paris Saint-Germain into the semi-finals of the Champions League.
We're absolutely crazy. One of the all-time great Champions League game finales. Another piece of the puzzle falling into place for us then in the Champions League. Atalanta go home. PSG reached their first semi-final in a quarter of a century in this competition. Tonight, we're going to find out who'll be facing them there. Either Leipzig or Atletico Madrid, who face off live on BT Sport. Friday then, we're on to the other side of the Champions League draw. Barcelona taking on Bayern Munich. The winner of that meets either Manchester City or Lyon, and they meet on Saturday. Sunday, it's back to the Europa League, and we'll have the semi-finals of all that and that kind of thing. But we'll talk more about Europa League later on. It's all about Champions League right now. It's all about saying hello to your friend and mine, Raphael Honigstein. Rafa, that was amazing last night.
It was amazing, although if you are not a PSG fan, perhaps not quite as amazing.
Well, I've got to say that I think a lot of people were rooting for Atalanta. When you get to 89 minutes, when you're a team as tiny as they are, when you made the incredible journey that they have, and you're 89 minutes in and almost in the semi-final, to have that collapse, it was heartbreaking. But it would have been deeply unfair for PSG not to win that game as well.
I agree. I think they created a better chances. They did almost everything apart from score goals, which then in the end, when they came, I think came as a huge relief. You saw Thomas Tuchel, how much it meant to him, because I think he already, along with some of the players of his, saw the headlines, and they would have been very, very negative.
It is a club, as so many people say, that exists to conquer this Champions League. And it looked like yet again it was going badly for them. They've been put out by Real Madrid, Man United in the last couple of years. Of course, Barcelona before that in spectacular fashion. It looked like Atalanta were going to do it, but in the 89th minute, Marquinhos gets that in. And then, after all the money, after all the superstars, it's Eric Choupo-Moting.
Yeah, Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting being there at the right place. But of course, I think the goal really comes from the great pass from Neymar and the movement from Mbappe. I think Mbappe being on the pitch changed everything. Before that, you felt Neymar had to do too much. He had to be the provider, but also the guy at the end of it. Once Mbappe was there, Atalanta became really stretched, and the game completely changed and swung into PSG's favour.
Right, we saw Papu Gomez going off injured as well. These are the scenes from inside the Paris locker room, and wild celebrations. They've not done it yet. They're just through to the semi-final, but even that is a major conquest for them. A lot of people in this country will talk about Choupo-Moting, and their frame of reference will be the fact that he got relegated at Stoke, but he had a pretty good career in Germany before that, Raf.
Yeah, he was at Mainz, and part of the reason why he's at PSG now is that Thomas Tuchel knew him,
right,
and knew his potential. You know, not always the most glamorous of players, especially with comparison to some of the teammates around him, but somebody who I think can be there when it matters and can be thrown on as someone who can change things up. And Icardi had a pretty anonymous game, and Choupo-Moting had a bigger impact.
I wonder if there's any chance that he might get the start ahead of Icardi in the semi-final. In the meantime, Neymar, in a very generous gesture, I think quite heartfelt as well, we saw that embrace, but he also gave him his Man of the Match award afterwards because he was the man who won the match.
Yeah, it was nice of his. I actually thought that Neymar had a pretty good game. I know it's easy to look at the misses and to maybe look at some of the frustrations that he showed and believe that he, again, didn't turn up. But I think everything that PSG did went through him, certainly in the first half with no Mbappe there. Yes, the finish wasn't good, but the movement was great. And for a team that was pushing high up and trying to man mark, I think Neymar had a lot of opportunities to get behind them. It's just that sometimes you felt he was a bit like a one-man band, trying
Right.
to really force the issue. I mean, those scenes are quite indicative because there's no one ahead of him. But it did change with Maxime Choupo-Moting being
Right.
much more of a centre forward, and then of course Mbappe on the left really got behind this Atalanta side.
This is a PSG team that had played only 2 competitive matches in 5 months before this game, so there might have been a little bit of rustiness. There might have been a lot of the pressure telling on them. But Julien Laurent, who was with us on the show just yesterday, they're tweeting that lovely picture of Neymar handing over his award. Mbappe, of course...
Even neutrals like that picture.
Yeah, not so much. But Mbappe's arrival... A lot of question marks about whether he was even going to feature in this Champions League after the injury that he'd suffered in the French Cup. And this was his reaction yesterday. You don't talk to me about pain. A big thank you to the medical staff, and he's basically having the doubters. No one believed it except us. He was hobbling around on crutches. It really didn't look like he was going to be featuring. And if he was, it might be a little cameo at the end. But he looked really sharp when he came on.
He looked sharp, although he didn't quite look at 100%, I felt. The speed was there, but the control wasn't quite. He had 2 opportunities to just take the ball in his stride, and the touch just was a little bit off by his standards. For most players, it's still good enough, but I think he can still play a little bit better. You could still see that there are maybe 1 or 2 issues, but in the end, it worked out perfectly because just when Atalanta really started tiring, you bring on Mbappe, and I think that sight in itself is quite demoralising for any team. And he really made the big difference on the night.
And then we have Marquinhos and Choupo-Moting finishing it off. Loads of people getting involved on this game on social media last night, including one Gary Lineker, who's referencing the fact that Choupo-Moting went down with Stoke but scores the winner here. Could he do it on a cold, wet Tuesday night in Stoke? It's funny because he's not the only member of that Stoke team to have reached the level of greatness in the Champions League. Richard Jolly there pointing out that the side that went down at the Britannia, it's 2017-18. 11 of them have or possibly will this season be featuring in a Champions League semi-final. Just extraordinary.
I'm not sure it's 11 of them because a lot of those appearances will be down to
the same one
Sheridan Shaqiri, yeah, but still pretty impressive.
Very impressive, very impressive. Well, we're all getting excited about PSG here. Not everybody is on the basis of that performance. Michael Owen, for example, saying unbelievable drama. But I have failed to get carried away with PSG's prospects for years, and I'm not going to start now. A talented group of individuals, not a strong enough team to win Europe's top prize. Now, the counter to that might be that it's not just one game. If you go back to the second leg of the last 16 against Borussia Dortmund, they came in nursing a deficit from the game away in Germany. This team that had so many problems, PSG, with coming back from adversity, they did that night, and they've done it again now. Do you think we're seeing le mentalité juste?
I mean, I think it's a little bit too easy to write off previous defeats as purely mental issues. I think, of course, the togetherness, the team spirit can have a positive effect, but not every defeat means that you're mentally weak or that you're bottlers. But what is true, I think, that this team last night never stopped going, never stopped trying, didn't panic. I think the substitutions worked out as well from Tuchel. A lot of people were saying, why so late? Why wait until you bring on Draxler, until you bring on Paredes for a bit more creativity? But actually, everything worked out well, even though it was quite dramatic in how late it worked out. So I think we have to take this PSG team very, very seriously if we didn't before. And the fact that it's only 1 leg, I think, takes some of the psychology out of it, because you're not going to go away to, let's say, Barcelona and think, are we okay with a 1-1, or what kind of result do we need?
Right.
It is more a archaic way of playing football, if you will. And I think that seems to suit this team. They just go for it, and they have the quality to win every single game against any opposition, I believe.
Right. Well, it certainly suits me if the games are going to be like that. A quick check on how we stand then with the quarterfinals and semi-final picture for the Champions League. Atalanta go home. They'll be back next year. They've already qualified for next year's tournament. Paris Saint-Germain are in the semi-finals. Tonight we'll discover if it'll be Leipzig or Atletico Madrid that face them. Paris Saint-Germain, that's their first semi-final in 25 years in this competition. Of course, so much pressure was on the manager. A lot of talk that he was about 3 minutes from losing his job. Post-game, a delighted and emotional Thomas Tuchel spoke to our Des Kelly.
Thomas, a fantastic night for you and for your players. To describe that feeling.
Cannot describe. You feel it, and you maybe can only feel it in sports, something like this. to describe it. There are no words. I mean, we fought hard for this result. We played hard. It's a tough competition. A super hard opponent with a very special approach. Thought like why ever we were not precise enough in our shots. We had big chances, and so it took us a long time to score. And we made 2 in the last minutes, exception.
You've got your broken foot in a cast. It didn't seem to stop you from celebrating, though.
No, but I was just standing. Imagine what I would have done if I had 2 legs. Maybe I would. Today would be the day where you can see me sprint for 40 meters. But it's the club's birthday today, exactly 50 years. So we will not forget this birthday. Huh?
And you've been the victim so many times of cruel turnarounds, or PSG have over history in recent years. It's lovely for it to go the other way around.
True.
Yeah.
So it's nice. I prefer that.
Well, he often seems quite a cold and aloof character, too cool by nature as well as by name. But that was very warm and charming.
It was, and I think the relief was very genuine, because I think it would have been very difficult for him to come back from a defeat against Atalanta in a year where everyone's saying PSG can do it. They have the easier side of the draw. They got a team that they should beat, really, despite all the beautiful football that Atalanta play. And you could see the pressure on his face. And the reaction was similar after the Dortmund game. I think you're right in saying that this team is beginning to, kind of overcome its challenges and believe that they can go all the way.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what they do in the semi-final. We'd love you to get in touch, by the way. We have the hashtag Club2020. Great to get your views. We're actually running a poll at the moment over on our YouTube communal tab. I think that's the way to describe it. What we've done is we've collected some of your favourite moments from Champions League history, and we're running them in their very own knockout tournament. There's a couple we'd love you to vote on right now and see which one progresses. This is the first. It's a clash between Bale and his extraordinary hat-trick when he destroyed Maicon at San Siro 10 years ago. Would you vote for that, or would you vote for Cristiano Ronaldo's incredible hat-trick when he and Juventus came back against Atletico Madrid, his old friends, in the Champions League last season? Get across to our YouTube community tab and vote for one of those, and we'll see which one progresses. There's another quarter-final in our knockout tournament, which is available as well, which we'd love your opinion on. Drogba v Rooney. Rafa, can you guess which Drogba moment they've gone for?
Absolutely not. I have no idea what this is.
The kick that won the Champions League in Bayern's own backyard, to quote a commentator. And that's the alternative. Wayne Rooney, oh my word, what a debut in the Champions League. He only went and scored a hat-trick against Fenerbahce. Head to our community tab on YouTube and cast your vote. We're doing a poll on this show as well. The question is today, which top manager would you most like to play under? 4 very good options there. Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, Diego Simeone and Zinedine Zidane. And you can add any other options that you might like if there's a manager you've always had a hankering to serve under. Anyway, we'll have a look at what people reckon later on. Right now, though, I believe we're joined by another guest. Hey, Daniel Storey. Thank you so much for joining us, Daniel.
Not at all. Thanks for having me.
Oh, not at all. First question, are your captors treating you kindly?
Yes, very well.
Brilliant.
Yes, I've got my blank wall behind me and I'm just about ready to go in a very, very hot kitchen.
OK, excellent. Listen, it was extraordinary last night. I know you wrote a brilliant piece about what the significance of that game meant. Are you looking forward to something similar this evening, another romantic mismatch, if you squint hard enough, between RB Leipzig and Atletico Madrid?
Yeah, I kind of understand with the fairy tale aspect of Atalanta and the kind of distinctly modern guise of RB Leipzig, why they've kind of gone under the radar in terms of underdog status. But this is still a pretty extraordinary rise. You know, they've spent more than 20 million euros on a player once in their history, and that was Naby Keita, who they sold for double the money. So this is not a huge vanity project and throwing money willy-nilly at very expensive players. It's a pretty extraordinary rise in a short period of time. You know, in their first knockout game in the Champions League, they brushed aside Tottenham. I was at that first leg and they deserved to win it by far more than 1-0. And I think they'll consider themselves to have every chance against Atletico.
Brilliant. Let's have a quick look back at that that performance against Spurs, because Timo Werner was involved in the team back then, although he didn't score in the second leg. It was Savitzer and Emil Forsberg who got the goals.
Yeah, I mean, Leipzig played a very controlled game in both legs, really, and for them it was seen as a huge step in terms of their maturity. And this is still a very young team. This is a team that doesn't have a lot of experience in the Champions League, only their second time in it. And they felt that Spurs would provide, especially with Jose in charge, the kind of challenge that would show just how far they've come in terms of being patient, trying to change the game a little bit. Because this is a side, as you know, built on pressing. But in Europe, I think you have to be a little bit more moderate at times in order not to be too open. And of course, Julian Nagelsmann considered almost this as a bit of a dress rehearsal, a kind of a mini version of what Atletico will do, because Spurs were quite negative in both games.
Okay. I mean, a couple of questions. Well, first of all, very briefly, will viewers in Germany be supporting Leipzig or Atletico Madrid tonight?
It's really difficult. I'm not sure either side are tremendously popular in Germany, but Leipzig has a decent following. So some people in Germany will definitely support.
But some people really loathe them, and it's because they're backed by big money, and that's against the German concept of how football clubs should be run.
Yeah, it's an artificial construct, or at least that's how it's being seen, because it was set up as a marketing product, really, by a soft drinks company. And as you know, in Germany, people like to see their clubs as community assets, something very traditional, something that belongs to you, and that you have a very intricate emotional experience with.
Right.
But in their defense, the fans in Leipzig have really taken to the side and feel now that it is their team.
As Daniel was pointing out, though, they're not a club, I mean, a vanity project perhaps, but they're not a club that's gone out and just bought success with massive, mega transfer record-breaking signings. They've been very contained. In fact, they have just lost one of their stars, Timo Werner, to another big-money club. How do you feel they are going to be able to cope without Werner in these crucial games?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I had a chance to speak to Julian Nagelsmann a few days ago, and he said, well, first of all, I'm not sure that Timo Werner would have been actually the ideal player in this game. Of course, he would have played, but he actually thrives more when there's a bit more space. So Atletico, probably not a good match for him. And he says that his absence or his departure now frees up space for other players who perhaps would have been on the fringes, but who now step up and show how much they can do. We have real talent. And he was talking about, without being too specific, about, I think, attacking midfielders maybe coming in behind one centre-forward, who I think will be either Patrick Schick on loan from Milan or Yusuf Poulsen, who's led the line really well. And he was also mentioning that Timo Werner was a huge figure in the dressing room, almost to the point of perhaps stifling some of the others with his big personality. It doesn't come across like that.
No.
But now there's a chance for others to
blossom.
To grow.
Yeah. Nice one. Okay. Well, much more to come from Rafa and from Daniel Story. We're going to be talking about Atletico Madrid here from our headquarters here in Stratford. Oh, what lovely scenes here in the east side of London. But we're going to tear our thoughts away from the canals and that and discuss the team that Leipzig will be facing, Atletico Madrid. But to take us to the break, here's a little teaser from Andrew Mensah.
This Atletico shirt is one of my favourites. Now, one Italian legend wore this shirt, as well as a player who lit up the Riverside. Can you guess the two players I'm talking about? I bet the guys in the studio are going to struggle with this one.
Eric, that was some incredible drama. Well done. That's the kind of celebration that we've been seeing. It's been an incredible night for you and for the team.
Yeah, definitely. It was all in all a crazy game, a tough game, tough opponent, and I think we showed such a good moral till the last second. We believed in us. It wasn't easy because we had some good occasions. I think Ney did a great game, unbelievable game, but had some occasions. Unfortunately, he didn't score. And when I came on, I thought to myself, we can't lose. We can't go home like that. And yeah, I was confident in myself, confident in the team, and then the rest is a little history of Paris.
That's right, and the history of Paris Saint-Germain has been sort of bad luck and jinxes in previous campaigns, and people were wondering if there was a mental block, but clearly that's not the case. We saw that from the character of the side.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, since month we have a good feeling in the team. We're enjoying good moments on the pitch and off the pitch together, and we won already 4 titles this season, but the most important is this one, and we really believe in us, and we did it today. And everybody knows we have individual top quality, but we wanted to show it also as a team. And it's a big step today against, again, a very good opponent. Respect to Atalanta Bergamo, and I'm very happy that we did it today.
As you say, you've won plenty of domestic trophies, but this is the real prize, the one that the club really wants.
Yeah, since a long time. We never won the Champions League, and I think with such a team you have to have this ambition. It's such a big club, and we will give everything in the next game and continue to believe, and everything is... Football has its stories.
And you have such a great squad and an in-depth talent. Mbappe, when he came on, he did add something as well.
For sure,
yes.
For sure. Not only the assist, he had straight away some good actions, and yeah, he's one of the best players in the world.
Congratulations, have a really good night.
Thank you.
You've been the victim so many times of cruel turnarounds, or PSG have over history in recent years. It's lovely for it to go the other way around.
True.
Yeah.
So it's nice. I prefer that.
It's your first Champions League semi-final as well, and PSG's first in a quarter of a century. These are big moments in this club's history.
Yeah, we're very happy to be part of it. Maybe it's normal that people from outside, it's hard to understand how much you work inside to reach all these goals, even if it seems easy, even if you have a good team, if you have a big squad, a big club. But it's a big effort, and yeah, it's a very, 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 very big step for all of us to be in the semi-finals. In this manner, to come here with 4 titles and to be in the semi-finals with this spirit, with this group, means really a lot to all of us. And this, I think that everybody in Paris and PSG is very proud of that, and can be very proud because it's hard work from a lot of people.
And when those past results went against you, there were people who would say there's a psychological problem or a mental block with PSG when it comes to the Champions League. You may have closed that door now.
Yeah, I had the feeling that we closed it with a second match against Dortmund, because it was this famous we cannot reach the quarterfinal thing, and suddenly was the bad first game, and was a lot of bad news before the second leg, and we could turn it around with no spectators. And yeah, now we had it was the best moment to continue for us. Now it was very difficult to prepare the team because nobody had ever done this before. We could not find the rhythm because there was no rhythm, there were no games. But I could feel in the last days that the determination, the effort, the enthusiasm of the group, the quality in training was outstanding. The mix between a good laugh and the good hard work and the concentration in the meetings on the pitch was exceptional, was a lot of fun the last week. And I'm so glad that we continue. It was, for me, a deserved win. And if you score so late, it's always also luck. We know this. I'm the first one to admit that you need luck to win football games and knockout games on this level. Yeah, but still, it's nice.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Welcome back, everybody. Club 2020 Daily, live from Stratford every day. Sultry, scenic Stratford. Excellent. Andrew Mensah, just for the break, posed you a question. He said, this Atletico Madrid jersey, and it's a lovely one, isn't it, from the 95-96 season. What Italian was wearing that, and what player who subsequently lit up the Riverside? What have you got, Rafa?
I've got one of them.
Which one?
Juninho.
Yeah, there you go. Daniel Story's with us as well. Hello, Daniel. What's the other one?
Hi, James. It's Christian Bobo Vieri, I think.
Yeah, one of about the billion clubs that he used to go through so many clubs, Bobo Vieri. Anyway, of course, these days, active in clubs of a different kind because he's a DJ, Bobo Vieri. Very successful one as well. Viewers got in touch, Randy B and Lost C, both saying Vieri. Well done to you. Carlos said Juninho. Adrian comes in with Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Well, there you go. Anyway, that was this lovely Atletico Madrid shirt. We're also running, of course, a manager's poll. Which manager would you most like to play under? We gave you those 4 options. You're welcome to suggest any others. But so far, perhaps not surprisingly, Jurgen Klopp's running away with it. 55% of people want to play under Jurgen. Should we hear a couple of quick comments here? Rock says, Pep's teams play the most beautiful football that I've ever seen. It would be amazing to be part of that. I think Lewis speaks for many of us when he says, I would love to score a goal from outside the box, hear Anfield roar, and then look over to Klopp for his reaction, hoping I impressed him.
Oh.
you know Jurgen.
Yeah.
Is it like that when you're with him? Like, did I do good, Jurgen?
I mean, he makes you feel very good, and I think you want to make him feel good as a response. But I would personally love to play for Pep Guardiola most, simply because of the football wisdom he would impart. And I need it more than probably any other player he would have coached before.
OK. Daniel, very briefly, who would be your manager that you'd love to play for?
Yeah, Rafa will be happy to hear. I'd say Klopp as well. I just think it's that meritocracy he creates, that kind of all-in-it-together spirit that you couldn't help but buy into.
OK, well, he's not in this competition anymore, Klopp, thanks to the antics of Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. What are their chances in the quarter-final? Well, Andy May is in Lisbon right now with a man who knows Los Colchoneros very well, Guillem Balaguer.
James, hola. Breakfast is on the way. Guillem's here. This one tonight then, Guillem, what are we expecting from Atleti? Atleti we know under Simeone, or they try and dominate it a bit more?
There's two forces at play. On one hand, you've got the media and the club with a lovely new stadium that will like Atletico Madrid to play even better. Simeone, on the other hand, it's all about winning. He said it in the press conference. Winning is not important. It's the only thing. And to do that, he reckons you don't make mistakes and you provoke mistakes. But they're playing better and better, especially since the confinement. You've got a team that actually are able to keep the ball and do things with it, and an attack that is quite versatile with now Marcos Llorente as the biggest find. So all in all, they have, I reckon, enough to go to the next round.
It's the first of two Spanish-German ties for the last four, a place in the last four. What do Barca need to do against Bayern?
Barcelona, now they realise they've got lots of limitations, so they're trying to not show too many weaknesses. So what do? They actually have 15-20 minutes of control. They will hope that a little bit of Messi is enough to get one goal perhaps or two, and then defend in their own box. They're not used to do that, but that's what they have to do because they haven't got the legs for anything else.
More of the same, I think, after last night. We would definitely take that later.
Very nice stuff there from Andy with Guillem. Of course, Bayern and Barcelona are the only two previous winners left in this tournament. Really looking forward to their clash tomorrow. But what that means is there's a whole bunch of other teams, PSG we've already mentioned, who are thinking, could this be our year? It's a wide open field. Atletico Madrid really fall into that category. Twice beaten finalists under Diego Simeone in 2014, 2016. Daniel, what do you think? This time?
Yeah, I think the football suspension, I think, helped them. You know, I saw them in Leverkusen when they lost in the group stage this season, and they looked very un-athletic. You know, I know they'd lost Griezmann and Rodri and Lucas Hernandez, and they just looked flat. They conceded chances from set pieces and from crosses into the box, which is nothing like we expect. But it feels like Simeone has used this break to re-galvanise them. And the other thing we should say is that they're scoring more goals. You know, they scored 40% of their La Liga goals in the period post-football suspension. So that maybe hints that there is that second gear that Guillem was referring to. But I think we know what to expect from Simeone in the Champions League. It's a gritty, determined, compact mentality that he believes will be enough.
Simeone himself actually points to the second leg at Anfield, that extraordinary 3-2 victory which saw them through against the reigning European champions as the turning point. Since then, as you mentioned, Daniel, since the lockdown, 18 games unbeaten, scoring loads of goals, turning around their Liga campaign. They were well outside the Champions League positions. They ended up finishing third. But they've maintained that defensive solidity. Oblak piling up the clean sheets, but they're now scoring goals as well, Rafa.
They are scoring goals. I don't think they're still quite the same complete monster that was frightening everybody 2-3 years ago. I think there is a bit more vulnerability, but at the same time, it comes with the benefit of being a bit more expensive and a bit more entertaining on the ball. So I think they're not quite as stereotypical Atleti anymore, both in a good sense and in a bad sense, because they concede chances, and Liverpool really, I think, should have scored more goals on the night.
Funny that, though, cup football, isn't it? One little triumph already for Atleti is the fact they've gone further in this competition than Real Madrid have. And that's the first time they've actually managed to last longer in the Champions League than Real in over 20 years. Daniel, you mentioned intensity, and one little bit of Atletico action that a lot of viewers have mentioned. It came from earlier on in this season, back in match day 2 against Lokomotiv Moscow. The incredible en masse tracking back that we see from them here. They just swarm back downfield, scared, no doubt, of the man on the sideline in black, just to shut down Lokomotiv.
Yeah, and you know, Simeone's teams are at their best when they are an absolute personification of their manager, when they do everything he demands of them. And as they get later into the Champions League, I suspect we see more of that, because they will be better prepared and more well drilled to do exactly that. Whether it's a fear of the manager, whether it's just a pure belief in what he demands of them, and that's why they're there, I don't know. But yeah, he certainly manages to provoke this kind of uber commitment, this monastic commitment to carrying out his wishes.
Right. I was surprised to see how many viewers actually responded that he would be the manager they'd most like to play under. I can't think of anything worse myself. Well, anyway.
I think it depends on your personality. I think there's a sense that when you play under Simeone, he is able to create a team that's greater than the sum of its parts, but also take on those individuals, bring out elements of their personality that make them better footballers, and that's very attractive to players. Maybe not players at the very highest level, but players that are aiming to get there, and never more so than with central defenders and defensive midfielders.
Now, one bit of adversity that Simeone El Cholo is having to deal with is the fact that 2 of his squad didn't travel. They tested positive, asymptomatic, thankfully, before the team were able to leave for Lisbon. And one of them, Carrera, of course, a big feature of Atletico's usual play. How much is that going to affect them? And from what you know of Leipzig, how much are they going to be able to end Atletico's run?
Well, it's difficult to say how much it'll affect them, because I think if it remains just those 2 players and there's no more positive tests, hopefully, then I think they'll just treat them as injured players and maybe forget about it. But I think in the short term, there was a lot of anxiety, not knowing, are other players infected? Are we going to have to, play with maybe only 14, 16 players? What's going to happen? It looks as if that huge fear has gone away. So I think they'll be able to concentrate, put this out of their minds. As for Leipzig, I mean, they feel that over one leg they have a good chance. Over 2 leg, Julian Nagelsmann was very honest in saying, they're more experienced, they know what to do, they know how to manage the whole home and away situation. But on neutral ground, no fans, a one-off, it's probably the best chance we're going to get against somebody like Atletico. And they were very, I don't want to say cross, but they were almost a little bit offended when people said to them, well, you have your chance, but probably that's going to be it. But it's like, no, we can also perhaps go all the way.
Right.
Because this is maybe the more difficult game for them than a PSG team who, with their expensive and open football, will provide much more chances for Leipzig's blueprint. So this is a tactical mismatch.
Right.
But it's not impossible for them to find solutions against them.
Yeah. Oh, we almost saw a major upset yesterday. Perhaps we'll get one tonight. Back to the poll. Let's see if Jurgen Klopp is still reigning as the most popular manager that people would like to play under. Yes, he is. No change there. Pep Guardiola, 26%. 7% of you bravely suggesting Diego Simeone. But 12, slightly more for Zinedine Zidane, because he wins things. Here's a couple of more reactions. I would play with Klopp, says Kenny. But I like playing as a defender, so I'd probably go and learn from the best defensive coach in the world in Simeone. Fair enough. Adam says Zidane, surely he's the only manager to win 3 Champions League trophies in a row. And here's a quick question from Carlos, who says, question for the guys, would a disciplinarian like Simeone work at Barcelona? Ooh, that'd be fascinating. Daniel, can you see that?
Not really. I think Barcelona, for all their clear flaws at the moment, still believe that the prophecy and that the philosophy is still sacrosanct, and that any head coach would have to at least look to compromise slightly on their own ideals. And if we know anything of Diego Simeone, it's that compromise is nothing and winning is everything. And I'm not sure that quite fits into that Barcelona philosophy.
Maybe not. It would be interesting to see, though, wouldn't it? Anyway, while the Champions League action continues in Lisbon this week, of course, over in Germany, they're preparing for the semi-finals of the Europa League. Cologne on Sunday will see Man United taking on Seville. Reshma Chaudhary is there right now, and she's taken time out to visit a local landmark and have herself, if you will, a Donna Summer with Lucas Podolski at his kebab shop.
So do you fancy showing me around?
I can show you around, yes.
Let's have a look. I'll follow you.
It's hot, but what you can do, huh?
So tell me when you opened this shop.
This was like 1 year ago.
Okay.
The first one we had like 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
And now we have 7. And we're growing.
It's amazing.
Because there's a lot of passion inside. It's not just I give my name to someone. No, we create everything. We create the bread, the meat, the salad, the design of the shop, and everything. So people always think I give my name and someone is make it. It's not like that. So it's a lot of work. There's a lot of passion in that, and that's why I love it.
What is your favourite kebab combination?
A little bit salad, just one sauce, and this is it.
Loads of meat.
Lots of meat, yes.
Tell me about kebabs in London, though, surely around the Emirates. My favourite kebab shop is near the Emirates. You must have gone for post-match kebabs?
I had one, I live in Hampstead, so near my house was a nice Turkish restaurant, and I was always there, with Mesut Özil as well.
Oh, right.
So this was like the main restaurant of us, and we eat always there. Kebab, chicken, French fries, salad, always.
Everything.
And, yeah, but it was good.
It sounds good.
I think the original kebab people know is like from Germany.
Is it?
I think so. Like the taste one, the really good one. In Berlin as well.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of Turkish people living in Berlin, in Cologne as well. So that's why I think the best one, the taste one, is in Germany. But of course, everyone
You're like the king of kebabs.
Everyone have a different taste, but I think the original one is from Germany.
Well, that was brilliant stuff there from Reshbin and Lucas Podolski. Have you ever been to Podolski's?
I haven't, no.
Right.
No. I know which place he referred to near Hampstead.
Right.
Golders Green, that's where Mesut and him used to go to.
OK, that's nice. And this contention that kebabs are better in Germany than London, that's quite extraordinary, isn't it?
I think he didn't want to go into the details, but it seemed to me he might suggest that the produce is nicer.
I see. All right. OK, well, anyway, fascinating little insight then into what Lucas is up to these days. While we've got you here, Daniel and Rafa, let's have a quick check on one or two of the transfer stories that have been occupying people outside the Europa and Champions League. Rafa, you know what's coming next, don't you?
Yes.
OK, here it is. This is the Daily Mail today with Pay Up or Lose Sancho. United drag feet over mega bid and offer him a wage cut! Exclamation mark. Rafa, what?
Well, I mean, the story has really not changed from Dortmund's point of view. They have a contract with Jadon Sancho that runs till 2023. That was a bit of a surprise to know that there's 1 more year left on his contract, not just 2. They have named the price that United so far have been reluctant to pay, 120 million euros. And I think that is only the start, maybe not the finished top line, if you will. And Dortmund are saying privately, look, it's up to you. You don't want to buy him. We don't think he's desperate to leave. We don't think he's going to go on strike or do anything silly. And we also think that he, as an asset, will appreciate, because next year, after the Euros or just before, could be a completely different situation with more clubs being interested, with the coronavirus hopefully all behind us, with the market rebounding, and then we might get a lot more money then than this year. So they seem to be in a position where they say, you know what, it's totally up to you. You want to pay the price? Fine. If not, we'll just keep on.
Daniel, from your point of view, should Ed Woodward just go out there, pay the price and lock down Sancho because he's essential?
I have to say, I don't think he's an essential position for Manchester United to be necessarily trying to sign a player of that money. But if he's their number one target, then they know what they have to do. We saw this with Harry Maguire last summer, in that they very publicly leaked information saying they were prepared to walk away and wouldn't pay the top whack. And then, 2 months on, it gets done. The same would happen with Bruno Fernandes. They had to wait until January to sign Bruno Fernandes because they weren't prepared to pay top whack. And it always feels like they end up doing it anyway. So if they want to do it, I don't see why they don't just pay the money.
Brilliant stuff. Cheers, Daniel. Very quickly from Rafa, yes or no, Havertz to Chelsea? Yes or no?
I can't say yes or no because I don't know if Chelsea are prepared to pay the money.
All right, what about Thiago to Liverpool?
Nothing has happened yet. Bayern is still waiting for Liverpool to make an offer.
All right. You know what? We've got a special guest joining Daniel on our big screen here. Oh, my God. He's not stopped smiling from yesterday. Jules, you were on yesterday, not today. Jules, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you well. Hello, everyone.
Congratulations.
I mean, if there's one guy who's going to be humble about these kind of, successes, it's Jules, so that's nice.
But we can't begrudge him. Finally on the right side of an incredible comeback, Jules.
Yes, exactly. Usually with PSG would get their heart broken. This time it was them who broke Atalanta's heart. It was cruel for Atalanta, of course. I thought PSG deserved it if you looked at the game. But it's 25 years that we had to wait for this moment, and we had to go through all those disappointments, sadness, remontadas, everything you want to. And now they're there. So well done to the team and to Thomas Tuchel.
Jules, who are you most worried about now in the tournament? Is it PSG themselves?
It might be for the semi-final, because I think whoever they play in the semis, I think they would be favourite, and I'm not sure they cope well with that, as we saw yesterday. But then if they get to the final, which would be incredible, I think Bayern Munich or even Man City, I think it would be one of them to be there. And I think Bayern probably would be the toughest opponent. They've been beaten them before. They've also got beaten by them before. But it would be a hell of a final, that's for sure.
All right, Jules, listen, thank you so much for taking time out of your victory parade.
Anytime. I can come back any days, tomorrow, whenever.
Brilliant stuff. Good to know. Thank you very much, Jules. All right, well, listen, we're almost out of time for today's Club 2020 Daily. Just a quick update on the situation in the Champions League. As Jules doesn't like to mention, they are through to the semi-finals, having beaten Atalanta in dramatic fashion yesterday. Today we'll find out whether they'll face Leipzig or Atletico Madrid in the semi-final. The other side of the draw, tomorrow, Barcelona up against Bayern Munich. The winner of that will be facing Man City or Lyon, depending on the outcome of Saturday's game. Europa League semi-finals start on Sunday in Cologne. Seville take on Man United, and then on Monday it's Inter Milan against Shakhtar Donetsk. Brilliant stuff. All live, of course, on BT Sport. As we have been today. For now, though, it's many, many thanks, Daniel Story, for joining us all the way from Loughborough. Lovely to hear from you. And Raphael Honigstein joining us too. Have you had a good time, Raphael?
Great time.
OK, magnificent. All right, well, we'll be back with another Club 2020 Daily tomorrow. We're live, of course, every morning throughout these tournaments on BT Sport 1 and on our YouTube channel. So I do hope you'll be joining us again in about 24 hours' time. In the meanwhile, enjoy your day and enjoy the latest slice of Champions League drama coming your way this evening.
Spurs face RB Leipzig, and it's Atletico Madrid against Liverpool. The atmosphere building nicely. Good ball played in, that's going to be a penalty. High score finish from the main man for RB Leipzig. There's the chance, it's the perfect start for Atletico Madrid. Primed and ready for battle.
Sabitzer! Stealing early strike for Leipzig!
Oh, he's in! Oh, my word!
Sabitzer, the skipper, has struck again.
Llorente, he shoots again and scores again!
And snapped home by Wolfsburg.
Morata can clinch it, and he does!
To Leipzig, a promising contender amongst the last eight.
Atletico Madrid are through to the quarter-finals.